Okay. Do you use sights? Here.
Abs, I want them to flex the way they want to.
What are your thoughts on having a meal plan right now? Like, I mean, if you could set, like, if I were to ask you just like, why aren't you on a meal plan? Like, how would you respond?
Um, because I mean, I guess like I'm kind of on a meal plan, but it's like a self-created meal plan. But like the reason I'm not on like a strict meal plan is because I don't think it's necessary right now for me to be in a restricted mindset where there's no reason. Like I'm not prepping for a show. I'm not getting ready for a certain date. I'm kind of just enjoying life and living life and finding a way that I can eat in moderation of everything and still maintain a healthy, lean, but still strong, energetic physique. And yeah, so I just don't feel like it's necessary right now. But if I was really far off from a goal or I had a set goal that I would want to achieve, I would be a lot more restricted in like the amount of food. Like I'd be a lot more strict in like how much of food, like how much lenience I'm allowing myself to have.
Yeah, you'd just be more accurate, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's where I'm at right now.
What's going on, everybody? So coming at you with a commentary. Haven't done one of these in a very long time, so just figured I would give it a shot and see what you all think. So today decided to train at a different gym than normally. I'm usually at 24 Hour Fitness. Decided to drive a little bit of a ways to go to Gold's Gym that I trained out with Brian DaCosta a few months back. If you watched that video, just has better lighting. Honestly, way more equipment. It's more of a, it just has a better feel when I'm training there. So let me just kind of get into this and explain what I'm doing now that you know why I'm not at 24. So I always start off, typically like 3 sets, about 15 to 20 reps, just to really warm up the shoulder joints. It's a really small muscle, and if you don't warm up the shoulders properly or warm up anything properly, you're not going to probably be able to perform at maximum capacity, and you're more likely to get injured or just not feel right and just feel off. So typically warm up with like, I try to get warm, which is the whole point of a warm up. So I keep my jacket on, feel good after about 3 to 4 sets, take the jacket off, and I start my normal working sets where I usually still stick around the 15 rep range. And that's just because for me, if you don't know, I've dislocated my shoulder 7 times, which is a lot. And I just have to be very careful because my shoulder joints are not good, both of them. So I try to stick to the higher rep range, not as much weight, and just very slow and controlled movements just to prevent injury. I do go heavier, like I get upwards to 35 pounds on laterals, but I still like to stick around 25, 27.5, 30-pound dumbbells on lateral raises, and I can always get a really good workout. And I just consistently increase my volume with more sets, reps, and I'll change the tempo a lot of the times. Like I do pause reps or negative reps. Just that's typically how I'm increasing my volume rather than always just increasing weight. Because with the shoulders, I don't think you need to go too high in weight because you'll start sacrificing form. And I see a lot of people doing just shoulder exercises very improperly just for the general fact that they want to use more weight. So after laterals, I move on here, as you can see, to a seated dumbbell shoulder press. So I actually like using barbell more than dumbbell, but at this new gym, I was already here, I had the camera set up and I was like, let's do some dumbbell shoulder press. So I don't like to lay back onto the the seat where you're sitting, just simply because I feel like if you lay back too far, you're targeting more of your front delts rather than your side and rear delts, mainly the side delts, but you're still going to always get front delts on pressing movements. So this for me is more targeting side delt, and then of course front delt as well, but it's more of an overall delt exercise rather than if you lean back up against the chair and you start pushing just straight up, you're going to notice it's a lot more front delt. So this takes more core stabilization, but in my opinion, it's better. It's just an overall better way to execute the shoulder press. And yes, I don't do full range of motion on shoulder press. And the reason for that is because my shoulder will click near the top of the movement if I go past a certain point, and that's just my own personal limitation. So I do suggest that you all go full range of motion, but if you have injuries or you have old injuries, you have to kind of listen to your body, and you can't always just do something because it's the right way, which everybody has something different, you know, on their body that they know that other people might not know. So just you watching this, that is why I'm not doing a 100% full range of motion on every single rep. Then after the first couple exercises, I moved on to some rear delts. So what I like to do is, you know, alternate, you know, go side delt, front delt, rear delt, then maybe back to side delts to finish. That's just me personally. So here's just some bent over rear delt raises. I really try to externally rotate my hands out so it just targets the rear delt more, and as we change angles you're going to be able to see it better. The lighting isn't the greatest here. It's very kind of like washed out, so it's a little harder to see, but as you can see I turn my wrist out slightly just when I'm at the very top of the movement, and that's just going to target the rear delts a little more, and it's going to take away from just pulling straight back and not turning my wrists out, where if you do that you're going to be hitting more of your mid back or your lats. So just a little small variation. After a couple sets, sometimes I like to sit down on a chair just to kind of take a little pressure off of my low back if I'm standing and I start to feel that. So that's why here, this is my fourth set, I decided to take a seat and just do them this way. Another thing I like to do typically right after the rear delt flies, the bent over rear delt flies, is this exercise. I don't really know what you would even call this, but it's just like a swinging dumbbell rear delt raise. As you can see, you just slightly pull it back. It's almost like you're skiing and you're going to be targeting the rear delts in a very isolated way. And you don't have to go heavy on this at all. You know, 15, 20 pounds, you don't have to go heavy. It's just the rear delts are a very small small muscle within the shoulder. And the most important thing to do, and why most people have lagging rear delts, is because they aren't just targeting them. They don't have the good mind to muscle connection. So lift light till you get it right. And then lastly, finished off using a hoist machine. This was a little weird because I initially didn't even realize that it didn't have a sideways grip and it had an up and down grip. So that was a little weird for me because I have a really bad wrist actually. I have all kinds of injuries. I broke my wrist a really long time ago. So doing that like inward grip with my elbows was very odd, which is what I just said at the end of the clip. I was like, man, that was weird. So then like I just try to like alter the way my elbows are, the way that I'm squeezing the handles, and I'm just trying to alter it to make it feel comfortable for me. But I always like finishing off with like a shoulder press because it's targeting all of your deltoids. It's not just targeting the front, the back. It's kind of a full-on deltoid exercise, so it's always good to finish off with another shoulder pressing movement. Typically, that's what I like to do. And then after I do the shoulder press or finisher movement, I like to go back and do more of an exercise that I want to improve. So if I want to improve side delts, I'll go back and do more lateral raises. If I want to improve rear delts, I'll go back and do like another 2 to 3 sets of rear delt raises. So that's just a general concept for me at the end of the workout. I always like to finish after a compound movement or just something that's a good finisher, overall muscle burner. I'll go back to an isolated movement of something that I want to bring up at the very end of the workout just to kind of get a burnout. So hopefully you all like this video. Please like it, and thank you.